there's a very good chance that if you're watching this video, you're a person that's struggling to do the work, you're tired, you're maybe at the verge of burnout. And look, I get it. It's difficult times right now. I've always been a hard worker. I've always found a way to hustle my way through the work. But as you, I've also had periods of being close to burnout. No matter what I did, these periods of burnout felt undodgeable. And that is until last year, when I started deep diving into myself and figured out exactly what I'm going to share with you in this video. Because last year was truly pivotal for me. I quit a business doing 50k per month and I was almost going bankrupt. But somehow these situations, they were things that made me realize something huge. So I hope by sharing this that you'll be able to dodge, almost going bankrupt and stop actually hating your life. Now, this video is titled Romanticize Your Work, and this is a process that I've been working a lot on these latest years. And the first point that I want to talk a little bit to you here is something that everyone talks about this, but there's really, I don't think, a lot of people that actually realizes the depth to this point. And the first point being realize your why. Now, this is a point that, so many people talk about this. Realize your why, figure out why you're doing what you're doing. But I don't really think that, most people actually get this. Because if you can't force yourself into a certain life, I mean, you can, but you maybe shouldn't. Because if you do that, then you won't really have a good fuel and a good direction to the actual life you kind of want to live. Now, the point here, realize your why, is something that you really need to deep dive into yourself and get to know yourself on before you can actually figure it out, obviously. Because if you can't find your why, then you can't find your direction, and then you can't find your fuel. Now, what will you do if you can't find your fuel? And you won't have any fuel to go forward, obviously, right? And if you can't go forward, then there's no way to actually romanticize your work, because there is really no work to romanticize. You're just doing something you don't really like doing. Now, the depth of this is something that I really realized last year when I was, as I said, making around 50k USD per month. And I was struggling a lot with, mentally why I was doing it. I didn't really have a why. I started off doing it because of the money. It was good money, of course. At that time, I was selling an info product. But the main reason why I started business back in 2018 was to help people. This wasn't the reason why I had started the 50k per month business. So when I actually started it, I realized quite quickly that I was driven by the wrong reasons. The devil was pushing me into something I didn't really want to do. And when I actually got closer to God and I started listening to Him, and I'm not going to turn this video into like some Christian rant, but when I started getting closer to Him, I kind of realized a little bit more about my path, like what I actually want to do in life, which kind of leads me into the second one, which is fall in love with repetition. Because most people love goals, they love outcomes, they love peaks in life, but most people don't actually enjoy the process. But chances are that you're the guy that's actually watching this, that you're maybe a bodybuilder, like myself. Like, I'm very indulged into bodybuilding and fitness, right? And falling in love with repetition is something that most of us do through training, through diet, through these things, right? We eat the same meal every single day and we see joy in it every single day. What if you could do that with your business as well? What if you could eat the same meal and have that pleasure, and you could bring that into the work you're doing, do the same work on your computer every single day, and actually have that enjoyment in your life to the work you're actually doing as well, right? You have to fall in love with repetition. Now, this point here is so important. You teach your clients this as well if you're a fitness coach, right? That discipline actually comes before identity. You have to be disciplined enough to actually do the work, then the identity will come, and then the craft will show itself in front of you. And that's how you actually romanticize the work, by actually falling in love with repetition, falling in love with the day-to-day life. But if you can't love your day-to-day life, then again, there's no work to really romanticize. There's no joy in it if you're really, if you're driven by the wrong reasons and you're not really enjoying the process there. And you hear this all the time: enjoy the process, enjoy the process. But what does it actually mean? For me, I think it means, finding joy in the little small things. I enjoy waking up every single morning because I genuinely love what I'm doing. I love working with fitness coaches. I love helping them get, more clients, because I also know that in that end, it means that more people, specifically like for their clients, are getting healthier. It's a beautiful thing for me. And that's something that really drives me, finding value in the small things in life. If that is like reading a book, if it's like writing down notes to this YouTube video that I'm now creating just on the spot with one page of notes, it's really valuable for me, and I really genuinely feel happy doing it. If you can find that happiness, then yeah, that's what you kind of are meant to do, which kind of leads me to point 3 here that we'll talk about in a second. But you need to understand that you need to fall in love with repetition. And again, think about it. If you're a fitness coach or just into fitness in general, think about it. You've done, you've been in the gym for 10 years maybe. Of course, you've fallen in love with that journey. You need to look at your business the same way. And again, it comes back to point one, which is realize your why. You realize why you're doing it. Why are you actually doing what you're doing? You can't force yourself into something, and if you are forcing yourself into something, then you also can't enjoy the process of, for instance, going to the gym, right? That's something you have to evolve a bit into. And I wrote down here as well, reps craft identity, which it really does. Just think about it. If you're someone that goes to the gym, you can't just go to the gym one day and call yourself a bodybuilder. Well, you can, but it's not really going to be your identity, right? And it's the same here with your business as well. You have to do the reps to be able to craft that identity of you being the person that is doing what you're telling yourself to do. And I call this the, proof stacking. If you do something for a long time without giving up, then you have the proof that you are the person that you say you are, because you've done this for such a long time, which I think is a really important thing to do. Now, it kind of leads me back to my journey of fitness, for instance, right? I've been going to the gym now for 10 years. I can do anything in life now with the proof stack there being that I've been in the gym for 10 years, not missed a single session, maybe a couple of meals here and there and a couple of leg days, but not more than that, right? So it's like that, having that proof behind my back leads me to be able to go confident in anything I do. But I don't want to go into a different topic here. Again, we're on the topic that falling in love with repetition is so important to actually romanticize your life. Now, point 3 here is something that I really have felt the last year. And this is something that I think a lot of people feel somewhere inside of them, but they don't realize it until it's maybe too late. And, for me, the point of here, I don't want to make it too fluffy. I don't want to make it about religion too much. But the point I made here is that realize the work is the calling in itself, right? I think, and my belief is that every person in this world is meant to do something. And if you feel this deep inside of you that you're meant to do what you're doing, then of course you're gonna enjoy the process. And some of you might feel, you might not feel that calling to it. And that's completely fine. It's completely fine if you don't feel called to do what you're doing right now, right? It kind of leads me back to the example I made before with me quitting my 50K per month business, is that I didn't feel the call to do that. That wasn't what God had in mind for me to do. That's why I had to quit it, because it wasn't meant for me. That was not in the path of success or greatness for me, right? That's why I pivoted now back into working only with fitness coaches, because that is what I feel like God has put me to do, and that is my calling. And I also wrote down here that real men don't endure for dopamine, real men endure for duty. Because in life, I think you have this duty to do something great. I think everyone here has the duty to do something great. Everyone that's watching this, you have something that you're meant to do in your life. And you might not feel right now, and you might not know right now what that is, but I think everyone has it. And you can still see the people, right, living day-to-day lives. I think a lot of them are unhappy because they haven't found that calling. But the more you can dive into actually finding this calling for yourself, the better you're off. The better, the better you'll feel in your day-to-day life, the more joy you will feel in your day-to-day life, because you know deep inside of you that you're doing what you're meant to do. You know that you're doing what, in my case at least, I believe in God, what God has set me to do. And if I know deep inside of me that I'm doing what God has set me to do, of course I'll feel joy, because I believe that the almighty guy up in heaven has actually planned this out for me, and I'm just following along the ride. I'm looking at my life as a story where I started out here, and now I'm walking the path that leads me to something great, some success that is coming here. Not success in a monetary term, but a success on a deeper level, a deeper notion of real fulfillment. And I think when you can find that calling, you can find that passion inside of you, that's when you really can start romanticizing the work and really enjoy the process. And if you have these 3 things in place, with like realizing your why are you actually doing what you're doing? And again, you need to go deeper. It can't be, well, I'm not going to say it can't be, but it should probably not be just because of the money. Dive deeper. Is it because of the freedom that brings? Is it because of the freedom it brings for your family, the safety for your family in this chaotic world that we're living in? Or is it something completely else? That's up to you to define. And then again, falling in love with repetition. You need to be able to enjoy the day-to-day life, because again, life is just a string of right now. It's a string of moments that we're living right now. There's no future, there's no past, it's only right now, and it will only be right now for the rest of your life. So you need to enjoy those moments, those now, because that is the only thing that we have in life. And then again, realize the work is the calling. If you can really see yourself walking this path, and you know deep inside of you that this is something you're meant to do, of course you will enjoy it. Like, that is just how it is. So if you got all of these three things in place, and I mean, this all kind of boils down to you getting to know yourself, spending a lot of time with yourself and your thoughts. For me, it really to give you some actionable steps here at the end as well. It really helped me just journaling, reading, meditating, writing for myself, getting closer to God. That has been the absolute main driver for me, and something I really hope that you will also do. If there's something you can take from this video to give you some actionable steps, but also just realize that you have a free will in your life. If you're stuck working at a job you don't like, you're stuck living in a town you don't like, your hometown perhaps, and you feel stuck in these ways, you aren't stuck. You're only stuck in your own head. You have to break that paradigm of you doing what you're not really meant to do, because you literally have free will. You can do exactly what you want to do. You can sell everything you have right now and just go somewhere else. You can. Like in what is going to happen? You have this finite amount of time on the world. Like, we are here for a certain period, and it's a small period compared to how long this world has actually existed. To be honest, we're quite insignificant in this world. So you have to realize that you have to make the most out of it. You are only living your own life, and there's really no one else that you have to take care of. I mean, of course, there are people you have to take care of, but in the end, it all comes down to you. And it might sound like an egotistical way of thinking and an egotistical way of living, but I think it's quite the opposite. Because if you're actually living your day-to-day life for yourself, and you find real proper enjoyment in your life, you will be so much more for all the people around you. You will bring more to the table for your family, for safety-wise, for instance, financially. But you will also just be a better person, a more joyful person to be around, and you will have more passion in your life. And passion is something that just makes your life so much more unique and so much better. So please work on these three things. If you're someone that's been feeling, burnt out, feeling that you're tired, you're not really enjoying the process, take a step back, reflect on how you're living right now, and just realize that you have free will. Again, back to the point, so realize your why, fall in love with repetition, and realize that the work in itself is the calling to the bigger thing that you're meant to do.